Welcome to the show, everyone. I'm your host, Antoine Valentone. This is the IB Me UBU show, and where we talk about all things customer success, leadership, journeys, and success stories. Joining us today is Megan Wilkin, who's a customer success advisor and a fellow MSML cohort from Pepperdine. Welcome, Megan. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing really good and super excited and grateful that you agreed to let me interview you for this new series that I'm starting, where I'm interviewing members of our cohort now that it's been a little over a year since we graduated, just to get a sense of how your personal and professional life has sort of changed since completing the MSML at Pepperdine. So what I wanted to start with is just take me back to a few years ago. What made you decide to go back and get your master's in the first place?
Yeah. So thinking back a few years ago, I was 3 years into my professional career. And I've been working in ed tech for the past these 7 years, actually, which is crazy. Time flies. And I was in a point in my career where I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to be a more formal leader in a way, having that master's degree behind my name, but really working with people. And I loved working in sales. I was a server throughout college and fell in love interacting with people, building those relationships. And, I just wanted to be able to take the next step in my career and meet others like yourself, where we have a unique relationship because you're further in your career, but that's great because I need a mentor. And it's awesome to kind of just learn from you and pick your brains. So really, I wanted to, again, kind of take that next step in my career. Um, yeah, that's what I would have to say, kind of just wanting to take the next step.
Yeah, so that's a great point that I should probably clarify a couple of things. I don't want to assume everyone knows. So MSML, of course, stands for Masters of Science in Management and Leadership, which is something you and I are both passionate about. And obviously, we interacted with other members of our cohort that were MBAs and maybe a couple of other disciplines. But leadership is a passion that both you and I share. And then the other question, or I wanted a point that you made I want to clarify is, yes, for me, going back to get my master's much later in life, many years since graduating high school and college. For you, how many years was it since since you got your undergrad?
So I graduated in 2017.
Yeah, okay, so not that long ago, right?
Yeah, not that long ago. Yep. And it's funny too, I could have shared, but I'm from a small town, graduated with my undergrad and booked it to Denver, Colorado. So always kind of wanting to take that next step. But yeah, 2017, I graduated.
Got it. Okay, super. And why Pepperdine?
Pepperdine has a great reputation. I think just the reviews and the faculty and the mission. And a little fun fact, I was never to California. Again, I'm from Minnesota. And since it was online, I had the opportunity to not necessarily have to travel for immersions or anything like that, but I was able to almost treat myself at the end as a graduation present to be present and walking in person. And my family was able to join for graduation. So really just the view of the campus and the people I met and just the curriculum as well. I think the curriculum was perfect. I wanted to focus my management more with people and organization behavior versus crunching numbers, right? I wanted to learn more about people and relationships and conflict management. So I loved every single class. Some other programs I considered, there were a few classes where I'm like, I don't know about that. And as you know, working professional and going for a master's degree, you need to have that passion. And the curriculum really had my passion right away from just reviewing the courses. So to kind of sum up, I would say curriculum, faculty, location, and really mission too at Pepperdine.
Mhm. And you touched upon, I think, a major point for a lot of working individuals like myself as well. How did you find managing a full-time job and school uh, from a workload perspective and stress and etc.?
Yeah, it definitely takes some time to figure out for sure. I think the number one thing is having conversation with your loved ones. For me, I don't have any children, but I am in a serious relationship, so my partner was affected as well. So really just talking about that, but having a schedule, looking at my week kind of from a high level to see, okay, when do I have classes? When am I meeting with my team? Really looking at that. And then once I have my school schedule, then I can implement kind of those fun activities or maybe like a quick date night or, whatever it may be. So, Google Calendar, my best friend, color code, best friend, and just being honest with the people in your life. You have to be. It's a commitment and you sacrifice, but at the end, it's for the better, and I'm happy I did it.
Yeah, me too. And did you feel like once you graduated, was it easy for you to transition back to life without school and that extra work and you had extra time? For me, it took
Y-
a bit of time to adjust. But
It did. Yeah, I think, yeah, for sure it did. I think any change takes time, as we know too. Like another thing that we learned in our program about like the different stages of change. It took some time. I think, you almost, I don't want to say you feel lazy, but you're kind of like, I feel like I should be doing something right now. That's kind of how I felt because I'm a type of person where I get satisfaction from, submitting a paper, doing that hard work and grinding or whatever it may be. So I think that, but what I try to do is fill up that space instead of just watching TV, but maybe focusing on meditation or yoga or rock climbing or, going hiking. I really enjoy outdoors and camping more, so kind of, I think for me, filling in those spaces of free time now with other activities that I want to focus more on.
Mhm. And what would you say are the major sort of learnings that you took away from the Pepperdine experience? Can you think off the top of your head, maybe, 3 to 4 or 5 things, even maybe that stood out for you as far as like really making a change in your life?
Definitely. So I would say one of our first courses, the behavior and organization. I think that is one of the biggest takeaways, as well as just how people interact and how an organization is set up. And we think about systems and processes. I think that was allowing me to have a better big picture of how my organization works. So again, as I mentioned, I'm earlier in my career, I'm an individual contributor. I've sat in meetings with leadership, but I've never really had the big picture. And then learning about how an organization is created and how it's structured, or the STAR model. I think the STAR model, for people who've completed our program know, but the STAR model is the 5 points of a business. So we have, let's see if I can name it top of my head. We have structure, systems and processes. We have people. We have rewards, and then we have, which one am I missing? Oh no.
I
Can
wasn't
you
going
help
to
me out,
put you on the
Anton?
spot. I wasn't going to put you on the spot because I honestly don't remember myself. And shame on us. We'll probably get
I
that.
know. It's gonna probably come to me like after this interview, but maybe I'll do is write it down and it'll come to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, but anywho, with just that and knowing why my company is making different changes or decisions
Yeah.
and seeing how
Mhm.
I'm affected, how my team's affected, how my department is affected, and being able to communicate with my colleagues or my peers with kind of what I see happening with the business and the decision, because the economy is crazy right now and a lot of change. And my company specifically, when I first started almost 6 years ago already, it was hyper growth. Whereas recently we're kind of at the spot where we're not growing as fast as we like. So just being able to better understand my day to day and what my business is doing too.
Yeah, indeed. Definitely helps give better insight into overall business decisions and
Yeah.
strategy that maybe weren't as obvious before. And,
Yep.
how would you say you've been able to apply those sort of learnings in your organization or even in your personal life? Have you seen any
Yeah.
differences? No.
Yeah. Also, I just thought of the final point of the strategy. You said it and it came to me like, oh yeah, that's right. But no, strategy, I think with my day to day, I've actually in the past about year or so, I worked closely with my manager creating like a new role for myself. So as I mentioned, I am a like customer success advisor, but recently I've been focusing more on onboarding, so supporting new students in my industry. And with that, I have to help my manager, figure out, well, how are we going to measure my performance? Looking at different KPIs and looking at what's the most important touch point for, helping students onboard more or less. So having the knowledge of success in organizations and just all the different case studies we've also reviewed and studied and wrote papers on. I think just all that knowledge about business and being able to apply it kind of in my business. I look at my role as my business because it's, I'm getting paid for my work. So really understanding the strategy and why I'm making these decisions, but also being more confident with my decisions. I think having that knowledge backs me up. And I didn't share this before, but another reason why I pursued this master's degree was to help build my confidence. Um, I've always struggled with it, but now that I don't know how many presentations we gave, probably like I don't know, 10 to 20 different presentations and working with different people and group projects and just this interview, I feel confident and I want to share my experience and I have my personal experience, but now I also have that business knowledge and learning from you and others and faculty. So
Mhm.
I think just being more confident with my decisions, but also being able to be louder with strategy in
Mhm.
my role.
That's great. I love to hear that. And picking up on your last point, do you feel that with that confidence, you're willing to maybe speak up more and advocate for yourself, whether it be your ideas and as far as getting buy-in on maybe suggestions, or even just helping advance your career with pursuing new opportunities, etc., where maybe they wouldn't have come otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. I think really knowing that you can be creative as well, like thinking about creative problem solving or not necessarily have to go by the books. I think it's easy to get caught up in corporate America and taking the traditional steps or guidance, but I now have the confidence to really understand there's so many opportunities out there and I need to advocate. I need to be my biggest advocate. I'm gonna have the longest relationship with myself. So it's really important to advocate for myself. And I have that confidence and I learned so much about myself going through the master's degree on a personal level, professional level, academic level. So absolutely, I think this program boosts my confidence and it's a really great transition that I'm feeling right now with kind of where I'm at in my life.
That's great.
Mhm.
So there's been a lot of talk recently because of the abundance of free information on the internet and ChatGPT, just of the value of continued education. Do you have any regrets as far as going back and getting your master's? And what's your advice for people that maybe are on the fence and not sure whether or not they should invest the time and money in advancing their education?
Yeah, I have no regrets. Something that's going to take a very long time for technology to catch up on is that human interaction, that connection, that personal touch. So I think the soft skills, I think you can't, I mean, there might be a way, but it's a lot more challenging to learn the soft skills, looking at a computer, chat GPT, whatever it may be, versus actually being forced to communicate, to you know, present and so forth. So I think those soft skills are not going to be able to be taught as quick as people would like with kind of AI and everything. And with that, the relationships I've built, I think it's crazy what communicating behind a screen, the relationships we built, that all the different times we met, but then when we got to meet in person, like on campus, like that feeling, I feel like took our relationship to the next level. Like you're real, like I can, like I can touch you. It's, so I think no regrets, even though online, I know it's again behind the screen, but you're still interacting, you're still communicating, you're still giving the nonverbals, even if we're not together, you can see like, yep, I'm listening, different things like that. So no regrets. I think people you need to have the passion. If you want to take the easy way out, you can maybe Google it or whatever, but if you really want to grow as an individual and have the passion, I think it's definitely a great decision.
That's great. So what's next for you? You've accomplished so much already, but obviously I'm sure you have lots of ambition and goals. Have you thought about things you want to accomplish next?
Yeah, so I really want to either be more of a people manager, so help creating and developing a team and supporting and training, because I do have a passion for that from, a work capstone that we worked on, or we had separate projects, but the project that I worked on was really focused on training and development resources. So I would love to almost be more of a consultant or manager, people manager, interacting, focusing on relationships. Or I'm also considering project management or maybe more about operations. I'm kind of at a point in my career where I'm all ears and kind of just trying to hone in on the relationships I have and learn as much as I can and see what opportunities really match my skill sets and hoping to take the next step in my career before we know it. But just really ready to take on more of a challenge. So yeah, I would say that's kind of what I'm looking forward to is taking the next step.
That's great. Well, I'm really grateful that you took the time to meet with me today and share your story. And obviously, it was great getting to know you during our MSML journey. You've got tremendous potential, and I'm sure that whatever you set your goal on, that you'll certainly accomplish. I want to thank you for taking the time out to chat, and I'll share your LinkedIn profile on the comment section below. Anybody who wants to get a hold of you and get to know you better can contact you there, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Perfect. Well, awesome. Well, I want to thank you as well. And I feel kind of special. You said I was the first
You are
first
the
guest you
first.
had for like this series.
This
Okay,
next
well, that's
series.
pretty cool. Pioneer.
You're going to go down in history as the first in this series.
Thank you. I feel very honored. So, and thank you again for kind of just allowing me to share my story and continue building our relationship.
Fantastic. Thank you, Megan.
No, thank you.